So who will get blown out of the playoff semifinals? So the playoff semifinals. All right, so if I go to the bowl schedule here, these games, there's no games for Clemson or Alabama or the top four this week, but it'll be January 1st. Okay, so you've got Alabama versus Notre Dame. They moved it from California which I think they should have. I mean, come on, you're not gonna fly your whole fan base, or you're not going to fly your whole team out there for no fans to watch your team play. That was stupid, about as stupid as the governing body in California, but we're not going to get on that subject. Alabama versus Notre Dame moved to Arlington, Texas in AT&T Stadium January 1st, 4 p.m. So Clemson gets the late night game. It's kind of exciting. I mean, I don't understand. You got a number one team. You'd think they'd get the late night game, but maybe, I guess not. I don't know. But so they get the 4 p.m. game, I guess because time zones. And then Clemson and Nolans, Mercedes-Benz Superdome, Clemson versus Ohio State, the Sugar Bowl, January 1st, 8 p.m. So of either one of those games, let us know in chat over on Facebook and YouTube what you think. Will one of those teams get blown out? Yes or no? We'll go back reverse. I'm going to throw the reverse Uno. I need to get like a graphic that does the reverse Uno card. Reverse Uno to Houston. Will one of those teams get blown out?
Correct. I think it's more likely that both teams get blown out. But if I had to put my money on just one, it would be Ohio State.
Oh.
I actually like Notre Dame's matchup with Alabama. I know I might be one of the few people that do that. I'm not going to say, look, in me saying this, Alabama could get beat 45-7, and it would not surprise me. Or Alabama could beat them 45-7, and it wouldn't surprise me. But Notre Dame, I feel like, has a talented enough defense that they could scheme up at least making Alabama one-dimensional and a little bit more uncomfortable throwing the ball. They at least did that with DJ Uiagalelei. And to me, I feel like Mac Jones isn't as mobile as DJ is. And so if they're able to limit Najee Harris and his running ability and make Mac Jones uncomfortable, Notre Dame at least has a shot. Now, I don't know how much of a shot, but Ohio State, they've got something coming for them. I know it. I feel it. The pettiness is already there. The leaked locker room video from Ryan Day, trash talking that he's going to just go in and they're going to blow out everybody that's made the playoffs.
Doesn't matter who they play, Houston. They're going to beat their bleep.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who they play, even though they just barely got out with their lives against Northwestern. All right, the team with a high school name, the team that they barely beat on Saturday, and they're going to come in and beat Clemson. Look, there's a reason Dabo ranked them 11th, and he's just sending them a clear message that he's going to show no mercy come New Year's Day. And they will. I know the line is 6.5. I'm going to go ahead and tip my hand that that's too low. I think if you're going to put the Notre Dame line as 10.5, it at least needs to be 12 for Ohio State. And I think Clemson's going to wear them out. That's what I think is going to
happen. Yeah, look, I have to. I'm gonna agree and disagree. First of all, if I had to put my money on one team getting blown out, it would be Notre Dame. I think matchup for them. I think they got too much speed. I think Devontae Smith's going to run all over those guys and get open. I also think Najee Harris is going to be able to do a little bit of damage as well. And it's not to say that I don't think Clemson can blow out Ohio State. I do. As a matter of fact, I was the one that said I would rather Clemson play Ohio State in the first round. That's who I wanted. My father-in-law actually texted me over the weekend and asked, what the line should be. And I honestly said I'd set it at 10.5 for this Ohio State game. And like Houston said, I think that's low. I thought 10.5 was low. I personally think Clemson should win this game by 17 to 20 points, somewhere around there. But it is interesting. You have kind of the motivation from Ryan Day's comments after the game, but you also kind of have the opposite. Ryan Day now has some motivation because Dabo dropped him at 11th in the poll. And I tell you, what that tells me is Dabo is confident in this game, because I don't think Dabo gives any bulletin board material unless he knows what he has. Okay, and they're going to get Olave back, because obviously they're changing the rules for Ohio State and letting them in 5 games in the championship. We all know that crap and how it's nonsense. It shouldn't be allowed. They probably shouldn't even be in the playoff. Yet here they are, and that's okay. That's okay. They're going to get Olave back, and I kind of look at Olave kind of like a Zay Flowers for Boston College. He's a really good receiver. He has a knack for getting open, makes some big plays. So look, that's going to be an issue for Clemson's defense, most likely, even though, man, the secondary looked amazing against Notre Dame. But, Ohio State's a good team. They're talented. They have Fields who can extend plays, and that's going to lead to some open receivers at times. But I really think I think they both have a good chance of getting blown out. But if I had to put my money on just one, I'd say it'd be Notre Dame.
Yeah, I am going to agree with Alan on this one because the matchup does not look good for me in the sense of offensive line. The reason why Mac Jones can do whatever he wants with no stress is because of a big old boy named Alex Leatherwood and another big old boy named Deontay Brown and another big old boy named Landon Dickerson. Okay, this is the three guys from center to left tackle that basically are just big, giant three-story buildings, okay? And that offensive line for Alabama looked massive against Florida. They are going to have an okay time against Notre Dame. Clemson, we know, has to really be excellent in the short flats because their offensive line is filled with just one big guy that's as far as a veteran, and that is Jackson Carman. The rest are sophomores, guys that are still building themselves out, still working their way into their niches there on that offensive line. Clemson has had to do what they've had to do with what they have on that offensive line. Alabama, Notre Dame have a lot better offensive line. I will agree with that. But I think Alabama has an even better offensive line. So I think that Alabama will be just fine running the ball. They'll be just fine giving him time for Devonta Smith to get open, which won't take much time. And I think that Notre Dame will probably get blown out, considering they weren't going to score at all against Clemson. Now, here's the thing. Alabama's defense is a lot worse than Clemson's. We know that, which I think is a good for Clemson, even though I could see them still being the underdog in the national championship game. But FPI has, and I know Walt's like FPI is lousy, but FPI has an 81% chance to win for Alabama, a 50% chance to win for Clemson. So it's 50-50 over on the other end, and the Alabama Notre Dame is 81-18, so 81.2 to 18.8. So I do agree with that predictor. I do agree with what Alan said. I'm not saying that I disagree with you, Houston, but I am. Now, would I like to see Ohio State get blown out? Yes. Am I surprised that Dabo Swinney came out and ranked them so low on the coaches poll? No, because he's been saying all year, I don't believe a team that doesn't play as many games as everybody else. And see, that was the big flaw, is that they didn't come out with a minimum required, like games played, for the playoff system. The playoff as a whole just said, y'all figure it out. We'll be ready. We'll be waiting here in January whenever y'all want to figure it out. And it's just like there's too many cooks in the kitchen in college football. Nobody's making decisions that agree with each other. They all disagree. And now we're going back. Al, you mentioned about Ohio State. No longer there's not a 21-day rule. Now there's a 17-day rule. I also saw a meme that's floating around Twitterverse that is saying that Ohio State now is approved to only need 6 yards for a first down. So that's another thing that Clemson's going to have to be careful with, is they're going to have to stop them at the 6 yards instead of the 10-yard. But let's see what chat says real quick. Al gets in another. That is Allen, not Big Al, but Al Kuhn gets in over on YouTube. He flipped from Facebook to YouTube.
He flip-flop.
He might have defected there. But he gets in as the 4th super chat tonight. Thank you so much. You know what 5 means? 5 means these guys got to get up and dance because they signed a contract to do whatever I asked them to do during this show. So they're going to have to do that. But Chris gets in. Chris, man, thank you so much for all your support tonight, man. You're in hot. Dickerson out for the year, so he says the center's out for the year. I didn't see that, but.
Yeah, he got hurt in that last game. I was gonna bring that up, but you got to stop talking before I can bring anything up.
Well,
so I'm still waiting on my opening.
And then let's see, Bama's going to be exposed with the Dickerson injury. Notre Dame has a decent offensive line, so maybe I'm wrong, but I still think they got a really good offensive line. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
they still got a really good left tackle, left guard for sure.